We take it very seriously, but we don't take ourselves seriously. What we're trying to represent here is a given period of time and reality. So basically my job is to make them look more real. Hi, my name is Tony. My job is weathering the trains. David brings me nice boxes of shiny new trains, and my job is to make them look old, dirty and worn. We use a various amount of techniques to do this. As you can see from this range of trains here, they all look different. We airbrush, we dry brush, we use powders. The first job we do is we have a meeting, and the rest of the team, Ian and Alan, tell me what they want from this train. They give me a little card, and I then work from that. I also have a lovely resource of books which comes from our library, which is full of photographs. The first thing I do usually is we start off with a slight bit of weathering. So usually I airbrush all the road dirt. The second job is, some trains come and these panels are nice and clean. So therefore I use washers to make these dark. The steam trains, we do a little bit of smudge along here, a little bit of smudge along here, and a little bit of smudge along here. My colleagues then say to me, Tony, we want an oily rag finish on this train, which is a train that's been looked after and is shiny with dirt on it, or we do the dull ones which are completely matte. So there's lots of little techniques and tools I use. I use dry brushing, I use an airbrush, I use washers, I use pastels, I use weathering powders, but it all depends on what the train's got to be. They call me Dirty Tony because of my job, but I think they call me Dirty Tony because of the mess I make usually, because I'm a very messy worker. I have coal dust everywhere, I have paint everywhere, and you're going to see me today without paint on my hands, which is a very rare thing. Hello, this is my weathering area. Today we're going to show you various techniques we employ to achieve the effects we're looking for. Cooling. When you get a model train, this is what you get. We're trying to be more realistic, so we use real coal. First of all, we prime it in PVA glue. When that's dry, we put a second coat on to hold the coal in place. We then sprinkle coal upon the PVA glue to get the achieved and desired effect. This is a very messy procedure. Coal dust goes everywhere. I am so sorry, Ian, for your laptop. When this is dry, in about 24 hours, we then spray hairspray over the top to hold it in place. Then little areas behind the coal, we get a little stick, put some PVA glue and put a little bit of coal in there to cover the spilt coal, which all trains had, and then we work some rust around the areas to try and give it a more realistic effect. Renumbering. When you buy lots of trains to run on a layout, you find a lot of them have the same number. So what we do, we renumber them. First of all, I remove the old number. I use micro mesh and ladies' nail files. I cut a small piece off the lady's nail file, I damp it and I rub it very gently until the number disappears. There's no quick way of doing this. You've got to be patient and just keep rubbing and rubbing until the number disappears, but the most important thing is you need the paint to remain. The second stage is the numbering. I always put the middle number first. To help it let it dry, you can use solutions. My favourite stuff to use is Microsol. By Microsoft, it's a decal setting solution. When the centre number is dried, you can work on the numbers either side of it and slowly build up your number. It takes a lot of patience and lots of time. You've got to get the numbers straight and you've got to get them in sequence. So please Be patient and take your time. The wait is worthwhile. If we turn the model over, you can see the completed work on this side. A newly renumbered train. Door handles. A lot of model trains, the door handles are quite bad. As you can see from this one, I've removed the door handles. Here are the offending door handles. As you can see, some are bent, some are broken, and they're over scale. We remove the door handles, then we drill holes. We make these new door handles out of wire. As you can see from these old door handles, they're broken, they're bent, and they're white. So, first job is to paint this wire white. In typical Blue Peter fashion, here's one I did earlier, but this one's got silver handles. A quick look on the inside and you can see how they are attached. Voila, new shiny door handles. Crewing. We like all our trains to be crewed. Some trains are easier than others. This one is particularly difficult. When I lift the train up and turn over, there's nowhere to put the crew. We solve this by plasticard. We make a plasticard base which we paint black. We stick the little man on. When everything's dry, we replace him back in the engine. The little plastic base fits into the body perfectly. We then run glue along the base. You then hold it for a while till everything's set, and then you replace it back on there, and as you can see, you will then have one manned train. Weathering bogies. One of the problems of using an airbrush on bogies is the paint gets everywhere. It gets into the wheel bearings, it gets into the pickups. So after a while, I decided to dry brush the bogies instead. All dry brushing is, as the name implies, painting with a dry brush. First of all, you put your paint into a container like this. You dip some paint on your brush, and then you wipe the paint off. Here you can see my dry brushing thing. There's hardly any paint left on the brush. And then you apply the paintbrush to the bogie to get this effect. You just wipe the paintbrush along and the highlights of the plastic will pick up the paint. Voila, one weathered bogie. Dominoes and reporting numbers. Some of our trains come with dominoes and they're not right for the era we're doing. So we remove the dominoes and put in recording numbers. The first job is to paint over the dominoes. I use a gloss paint because the numbers stick better to gloss. A good tip is when you do the numbers, don't have them all in a row. Because if you look at pictures of trains, you'll always find one of the numbers is lower or higher than the other. A good example of this is this.